In the summer of 1914, the world stood on the brink of chaos. The great powers of Europe were entangled in a web of alliances, rivalries, and tensions, each nation armed to the teeth and eyeing its neighbors with suspicion. But it was not a grand battle or a diplomatic crisis that would plunge the world into war. Instead, it was a single, fateful event in the streets of Sarajevo, a city in the heart of the Balkans. This is the story of the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and the spark that ignited World War I. Archduke Franz Ferdinand was not a man who inspired universal admiration. Stern, aloof, and often at odds with his uncle, Emperor Franz Joseph, he was nevertheless the heir to one of the most powerful empires in Europe. In June 1914, Franz Ferdinand and his wife, Sophie, traveled to Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia-Herzegovina, a province recently annexed by Austria-Hungary. The visit was meant to showcase the empire's strength and unity, but it was also a provocation. Bosnia was a hotbed of nationalist sentiment, and many of its people resented Austro-Hungarian rule. The couple arrived in Sarajevo on June 28th, a date that would soon be etched in history. It was a sunny Sunday morning, and the streets were lined with crowds eager to catch a glimpse of the royal visitors. But among the onlookers were 6 young men, members of a secret revolutionary group called the Black Hand. Armed with pistols and bombs, they were determined to strike a blow against the empire they despised. The royal motorcade made its way through the city, with Franz Ferdinand and Sophie riding in an open-top car. The first assassin, Nedeljko Čebrinović, stood ready. As the car passed, he hurled a bomb at the Archduke. The bomb bounced off the folded roof of the car and exploded beneath the vehicle behind it, injuring several people. Čebrinović swallowed a cyanide pill and jumped into the river, but the poison was old and ineffective, and the river was shallow. He was quickly captured. Franz Ferdinand, shaken but unharmed, ordered the motorcade to continue. The rest of the assassins, scattered along the route, failed to act. It seemed as though the plot had failed, but fate had other plans. After attending a reception at the town hall, Franz Ferdinand insisted on visiting the hospital to check on those injured in the bombing. The driver of his car, unfamiliar with the new route, took a wrong turn onto a narrow street. As the car slowed to reverse, one of the assassins, Gavrilo Princip, happened to be standing nearby. Seizing the opportunity, Princip stepped forward and fired 2 shots at point-blank range. The first bullet struck Sophie in the abdomen. The second hit Franz Ferdinand in the neck, severing his jugular vein. "Sophie, Sophie, don't die! Stay alive for our children!" the Archduke cried as blood poured from his wound. But it was too late. Within minutes, both Franz Ferdinand and Sophie were dead. The assassination sent shockwaves across Europe. Austria-Hungary, already wary of Serbian nationalism, saw the attack as a direct challenge to its authority. The Black Hand, though based in Serbia, had ties to elements within the Serbian government, and Austria-Hungary was determined to hold Serbia accountable. In the weeks that followed, Austria-Hungary issued an ultimatum to Serbia, demanding a series of concessions that were designed to be unacceptable. Serbia, backed by its ally Russia, refused to comply. On July 28, 1914, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, setting off a chain reaction of alliances and mobilizations. Within weeks, Europe was engulfed in war. Gavrilo Princip, the young Bosnian Serb who fired the fatal shots that killed Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife, Sophie, on June 28, 1914, became an instant symbol of both heroism and infamy. His actions set off a chain of events that led to World War I, but his own fate was far from glorious. In the immediate aftermath of the assassination, Princip was arrested by Austro-Hungarian authorities He was only 19 years old at the time, and under Austro-Hungarian law, he was too young to face the death penalty. Instead, he was sentenced to 20 years of hard labor in the notorious Terezín prison, located in what is now the Czech Republic. Life in Terezín was brutal. Princip was kept in solitary confinement, shackled in a damp, dark cell. The conditions were harsh, and his health deteriorated rapidly. He contracted tuberculosis, a disease that ravaged his body and left him weak and emaciated. Despite his physical suffering, Princip remained defiant, unrepentant for his actions. He believed he had struck a blow for freedom and the liberation of the South Slavs from Austro-Hungarian oppression. Today, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand is remembered as one of the defining moments of the 20th century. The street where Princip fired his fatal shots is now a quiet corner of Sarajevo, marked by a plaque and a small museum. The car in which the Archduke and his wife rode is preserved in a museum in Vienna, a silent witness to the events that changed the world. The story of Franz Ferdinand's assassination is a reminder of how quickly the course of history can be altered by a single act, and it is a warning of the dangers of nationalism, militarism, and the fragile balance of power that can so easily be shattered. As we look back on that fateful day in Sarajevo, we are reminded of the fragility of peace and the enduring impact of the choices we make. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was not just the spark that ignited World War I, it was a turning point in history, a moment that shaped the world we live in today. And it is a story that will continue to be told as long as we seek to understand the forces that drive us toward conflict and the hope for a more peaceful future.